Hey there, it's Jacques from Heroes and Legends, and today is the first day of official Eternal Master spoilers, and boy, have they dropped some huge cards on us. You can see from the title screen. We'll talk more about that later. But today we have 14 cards to look at from the brand new set, and every day spoilers come out, we'll be putting together a video to compile them for you. So this is going to be a little different than our typical spoiler videos, just because we know what these cards do already. We kind of know where they're good, where they're not good, so it's not going to be much of an evaluation as much as it's hey, they're reprinting this and maybe here's a little background to the card, so a little different. But we're going to go through everything, compile the information for you every day, and then once the full set's spoiled, we'll do our full set review, which will mostly focus on limited for the most part probably. So alright, let's jump in with today's info. So first off, we have the packaging. Here's the 3 booster packs, and you can probably guess at least a couple of those cards from looking at them, but we'll get into all that in just a moment. All 3 of those cards that are on the packaging have been revealed today. And here's our first spoiler. It is Daze. Now, Daze was originally printed as a common in Nemesis, and Daze is actually kind of interesting because here it is now as an uncommon, but it was a common, so it's a huge card in Pauper. And the Magic Online version is actually way more expensive than the paper version. That's very rare. Typically, it's the other way around. But the main reason for that is Daze is kind of hard to get on Magic Online. I think really the only place you can get it is from the Jace versus Chandra duel deck. And also, Pauper is very popular on Magic Online. So put those two things together, and Daze is actually a little bit spendy for a common on Magic Online. In paper, it's a lot more reasonable. It saw printing in Nemesis where you could also get a foil of it at that time, although foils were very hard to come by in those days. And secondly, you could also get the dual deck and get a copy there. Having said that, though, here's another opportunity to get a foil version of this. And I think Uncommon's fair for this card. It's very strong. It's very powerful. It does see play in Legacy, a little bit in Vintage, but it's a huge Pauper card right now. So it's really cool to have it included for those folks that play that format. And, you know, I never really liked the original art in Daze that much. I don't love this art. It looks a little too computer generated for me, but I do think I like it better than the original, believe it or not. So is what it is. And let's move on, shall we, to Jace the Mind Sculptor. Perhaps you've heard of this card. So here's another opportunity to get Jace, or even get a foil Jace. So basically originally printed in World Wake and then saw a reprint from the Vault 20. From the Vault 20 was a kind of nice, sort of affordable way, to get a foil of Jace, and now Jace is back again. This is a card that sees Legacy play, sees Vintage play, and probably would be worth a lot more if it wasn't banned in Modern, but that's just fine. I think as far as keeping the value down, we can keep that banned in Modern for a little while. And yeah, this card's still pretty spendy though, and it's really the centerpiece of what you think of when you think of Modern Magic. Vintage Magic, you probably think of Black Lotus. I think more modern days, when you think of a centerpiece card for Magic the Gathering, I think it's Jace the Mind Sculptor. Next we have Necropotence, and this is a mythic as well. Now, this is interesting. Some people kind of balked a little bit at this because it was at mythic, and the value of the card isn't super high, but power level of the card definitely feels mythic to me. So I think it's fair to have this at mythic, even though I know it's a bummer if you're spending who knows what, a pack, $10, $20 for a booster pack, you pull a mythic, and the mythic you pull is not worth the price of the pack. So I kind of understand that, but hopefully your foil and your uncommons and commons will make up for it. Having said that, I think Necropotence is a great inclusion because it really showcases one of the early times of Magic that they created a broken card and things really got out of control. So once they kind of got past the very beginning era, the Alpha Beta Unlimited era, and started making expansions, it was really Necropotence and Ice Age that really for the first time just shattered the format. And it took a while for people to realize how broken this card was, or at least find that this card was the blame for some of these really explosive decks, because this was actually reprinted in 5th edition and they still didn't quite get it. But now obviously folks figured out how powerful this is a card that's actually banned in Legacy, restricted in Vintage. So there's not a whole lot of places you can play this, but it's an awesome cube card, and it does see a lot of Vintage play, even though it is restricted to 1 per deck. So there you have it. I think it's a fair inclusion. So we have Toxic Deluge, and I'm very glad to see this reprinted. This is at Rare, and it was only printed originally in Commander 2013 product, and this is actually really cool because we've never had a foil of this before. Now, on the flip side of the coin, I think some people are taking this as a sign that we're not going to see Damnation reprinted this time, which I think is a little disappointing just because the price tag on Damnation is a lot higher than the price tag on Toxic Deluge. But I do think that this in some ways is a better card, and especially when you get it working well in conjunction with other things, this can actually be a lot better for you than Damnation. So I think it makes sense that it's there, and the fact that you're going to be able to get it in foil for the first time I think is really cool. Maybe we'll see Damnation another year in Modern Masters 3, hopefully, right? Next we have Gamble, and this was a rare in Urza Saga, and it wasn't on the reserve list, so very good to see it here. Sees a little play sometimes in lands decks, but I think this really shines more or less for Commander players and definitely for Cube as well. So it's got some new art here, which actually looks pretty cool. It's almost like Indiana Jones inspired. I think it's actually kind of awesome, so I really like what they did with this one. Next is Sneak Attack, and here's another Mythic. Sneak Attack, probably not a huge surprise. I think everyone kind of saw this coming. This is another Urza Saga card that's just very powerful. Obviously, there's been a Legacy deck, Sneak and Show, that really revolves around Sneak Attack and a lot of Sneak Attack strategy. It's also a great cube card. It's really fun to put this in cubes and build some big creatures into it, like Eldrazi and stuff like that. I don't know. I kind of like the old art for this one, but, you know, old cards, you're never going to see the old art when they reprint it, so you kind of knew this was coming. This isn't bad, but I really like the old one with the Sleeping Dragon. But having said that, very happy to see this included. Nimble Mongoose. This one's interesting. Now, this is from Odyssey originally, I believe, and it was a uncommon. And over the history of Magic, I mean, it's played a pretty big role. It showed up in a lot of big decks, sees a little play here and there still in Eternal formats. However, what's very interesting about this is it's reprinted at Common, which now will make it open to Pauper. So another kind of powerful, strong one drop for Pauper is kind of awesome. So yeah, that's probably the most interesting thing about this card right now. Next we have Sylvan Library, and this is a rare, huge fan favorite, so this is an awesome include. They really got this one right. And I'll say, if you want a black border version of this card, it's a little spendy. You're either going back and buying the original Legends version, or you're getting the foil that came in the Commander's Arsenal a few years back, and those can be a little pricey. However, if you don't mind just getting the regular white border version, it was in 4th as well as 5th edition. So this card has seen some print. It's not super expensive if you don't mind getting maybe a less desirable version of it, but here's an opportunity to get a black border version with amazing art and potentially foil. Deathrite Shaman. So here's another card I think we sort of expected. I wouldn't have been sad to see this come in at uncommon. I don't know, maybe it would have been too powerful in draft, but it is a rare, at least it's not mythic, and it's awesome. It sees tons of Legacy play. I mean, tons of play in Legacy. Another card that's banned in Modern, so that's kind of kept the price down a little bit, so it's not like a super valuable card, but I think it's going to fit in the limited environment nicely, and it'll get some more copies out there for players. Bloodbraid Elf, another card that got banned in Modern, so that helps keep the value down a little bit. This is also at the uncommon slot, and it's a great inclusion though. It's a good cube card too, and it can do some crazy broken things sometimes with suspend or zero casting cost stuff. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what this will do in limited. I feel like it's going to set up something in limited, so just something to keep an eye on. Chrome Mox. Now this is like the last Mox to get the new art treatment of like the hands holding the Mox, so that's kind of cool. And this is another card hasn't seen a whole lot of printing. It was originally a Meriden, and then it did get a Grand Prix promo at one point, and it had different art on all 3 copies of the cards now, so I actually like this art a lot. And this is another card that isn't like super spendy, but it's definitely valuable enough to have value and hold its value and probably warrant a mythic slot. Goblin Charbelcher. If you haven't seen Tolarian Community College, the professor's video for this card, this was his preview card. Check it out. He always does an awesome job with the preview videos. They're amazing and hilarious. So definitely check it out. It's I can't even describe it. It's awesome. But this card, Goblin Charbelcher, is a huge combo card and has a Legacy and Vintage deck named after it, and it's also a very good limited card. I think this could be fun to play around in with limited. So again, we haven't seen a whole lot of the set. We'll know more soon, but I feel like this could be a fun limited card. Other than that, it's another card that's not super spendy. Came again from Mirrodin as a rare, but at the same time, there's definitely demand for some of these out there. And finally, the big card of the day, and we saw it at the opening, Mana Crypt. And I believe this was our number 1 card in our top 10 colorless spells we wanted to see reprinted. So thank you, Wizards, for giving it to us. This thing is, I think it was about $170 or so, and there really was no real printing of it. The only way to get it was to, back in, I think it was 94 if I recall, back in the early days of Magic, you had to buy a novel. There was a coupon in the back. You sent the coupon in and they sent you this card. And I remember I had some friends that did it, and I just thought, that's a lot of trouble. The card's good, but I don't know if I want to go through all that trouble to get it. And wow, should I totally have gotten every copy of that book that I could have found, huh? But now I get another chance. Maybe I can open one in Eternal Masters, and now you also get foils. This is the art, I believe, that's been on the Magic Online version of the card from, I think it was Vintage Masters, but you also see it in cubes and stuff. So that's pretty cool. I do like the art. It's pretty decent. So it's a huge card. I think this card alone is making probably pre-order prices go up as we speak. It's been crazy. It's just been a crazy day for booster box pre-orders and that type of thing, I'm sure. So all right, those are all the cards for today. And again, we'll be back tomorrow. I'm sure we're going to see a lot more now. Typically, day 1 is your biggest day when it comes to spoilers. They try to give you kind of that gut punch. That's probably what Mana Crypt was. That might be the best card value-wise in the set. But still, I'm sure we're going to see some amazing things. And I'm very intrigued to see what the commons and uncommons look like. So until tomorrow, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day.
Hey, thanks as always for watching. This video, like all my videos, was made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Even a donation of $1 helps me to keep growing this community and creating better quality videos for all of you. Check out our Patreon page for exclusive giveaways and future goals for the channel. If you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the MTG news, spoilers, set reviews, product openings, or finance videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a good day.